For specifically restaurants, the way it works, you got to find the premises first, and it's either going to be an empty shell, or it's going to be a restaurant that's already operating. You might want to they want to close up and leave, and you'll buy at a premium. So it'll be either a nil premium from a landlord or at a premium, and the premium will be dictated by the fixed assets they have left there. If you're going to be still using the name, the goodwill. How long the lease is, if it's still a good amount of time of the lease.
Oh, okay.
So like right now, there's a lot of restaurants closing down. But on the other spectrum, there's a lot of restaurants still smashing it even more than they used to, because, the leisure pound, what you're competing with, no one's going out raving no more or concerts, so they're going out to eat, which is kind of like
because you can't.
So if you're doing well, and you want to grow, now's the time to grow. Because a lot of people who aren't making, who kind of didn't, do too well beforehand, are not going to do well now. So you could get a few deals right now.
So if I'm starting a restaurant now, I'm modest, a modest capital, I want to start a restaurant. How much would I be looking at, like?
Okay, so recently I've been looking at restaurants with 10-year leases. Wanted to jump ship, so it's operating already. So you have to do you'll take over their lease, their existing lease. They're asking offers of around 30 to 40,000 for a premium, and you'll get everything that's in there. That's their fixtures and furnishings and everything else. So if you want to, all you need to do, if you're gonna have a concept that's similar to what they have already, and you don't have to change too much equipment, 30, 40 grand, say 50 grand, including your capital allowances and working capital and sign changes and whatever. 50 grand is usually what you would, and that's right now. But before, maybe 100 grand.
Oh, now, really? Yeah. So the price has gone. So are we in a recession? So it means that it's cheaper now. We just meant.
Well, a lot of people want to go. They want to leave. They don't want to. They don't want to pay the next quarter's rent or VAT bill that's coming up, and they'll rather just say, take over my business, so I could get out of it. And it's being able to put your ear to the ground and find out who these people are. So that's why you have to be in it. Right now, because I'm in this situation, a lot of times people come up to me and these opportunities come in. But before it was pretty, no one knew who the hell I was, and I'll have to call up people. And I'll pass by a shop, I see a sign. I'll pass by a shop, I see it being closed for 2 days. I'll take a photo of it, call up, send an email, and I'll change. One of the restaurants I picked up, Rama Ramen, 3 years ago. Yeah. I walked past it, and it the current tenants there, they weren't doing too well, and I could see that. I went to go eat there, just start talking to the owner. And I don't want to insult him or anything. Like, I'm not gonna be there like, I want to buy your restaurant. I'm like, this is a lovely space. I love what you've done here. This is incredible. If there's anything you need from me, take my phone number, and we swap details. And that was it. And I called him. I messaged him saying, thanks again for the delicious dinner. We're looking to expand. If you ever decide that you wanna, I don't want to insult you. If you ever decide you wanna, go other way or try something different, please consider me in the future. But thank you. I just love your what you do, And that was it. And when the opportunity came, and this was like a year and a half later, I get a text from him saying, Omar, you want to come see me? I'm thinking of selling up. So it's if it's in your mind and it's something you want to do something. Just don't, there's so many things you could do, so many ways to communicate. Yeah. You don't have to be a dick about it. You could just do it.
You can do it gradually. I like the approach you took, because you kind of respectful of his business and gave yourself, positioned yourself as an opportunity as opposed to a demand. If you look into it, I love that. So I see when you're saying all these restaurants are closing down, I see the light in your eyes. I see there's more tables. I see it, bro. I see you're taking over. I see the light in your eyes. This concept of a food strip. Okay, I want to get to it because I saw you talking about your wife May. You were saying how she's got it from an idea of the Philippines, but we're still on restaurant number 1. So you opened the first restaurant. Yeah. Oh, first of all, when do you start making profit? How do you know that this is doing well for me to move on to restaurant number 2? And how are you earning the money to kind of put into the restaurant? Is that from your job, and then we move on to Ramo? How does that happen?
You know what? I don't want to lie and say I'm fiscally, even though I have the accounting background, and it's what it is. I look at my bank balance and the business balances, and I think, okay, if an opportunity comes, can I afford it? And that's where I try and get those deals which I could afford. And a lot of times when you put an offer out and you think, nah, this is going to be stupid. They're not going to say yes. We're not going to say yes. And when they say yes, you think, shit, all right, they said yes. What do I do? All right, I got to do it. You know?
Yeah.
And that's what it is. So when for me, opening up the restaurants, I never, the whole margin thing and gross profit, I just had to create first.
Yeah.
You know? It wasn't about making money. It was about creating something special. A place for people to congregate, my friends, my family, something that my mom and dad could be proud about as well.
Yeah.
My little girl, when she grows up, maybe this is something for her.
Yeah.
And that's what it was about. Even now, I'd rather spend money on a new ice cream machine than get a deposit on a car. I need a new car right now. Man. My car is done for, but I don't want to do that because I know if I get that piece of equipment, that's going to do my business better, and I'll get a return on it. And maybe in 3-4 years, that's going to get me 2 cars. Whatever.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's
the
just
entrepreneurial mindset.
So, fiscally, when are you ready? When the cash flow is right, man. Because cash flow will kill you if you're not careful.
Yeah.
You could jump into a commitment and realize, what
Can
you
you
don't
explain
have.
cash flow just for the people that are listening, and especially in your industry?
Yeah, so cash flow, there's some fixed costs to running a restaurant. You got to pay rent. You have to pay business rates. And those are generally your fixed, and the sunk costs you spend on your equipment. Now, don't get me wrong, equipment for restaurants are expensive.
Yeah.
You get a microwave from Argos, it's going to cost you £40,
Yeah.
£100. You get a microwave for a restaurant, and it has to perform in a restaurant. You're looking at a minimum of £500. And that's for every piece of equipment. It's if something breaks, you got to repair it because you don't make money. People think, okay, you made loads of money today. You had great sales. And some of the staff, they say that. I'm like, yeah, man, but I got to put that aside. If I got to close down for a week because I did 3 refurbishments over the lockdown. I'm hemorrhaging, but thank God I put that aside.
Yeah.
I made the money over the time and I put it aside. I didn't go on holiday and blow it because, I've been, in this business long enough to realize that rainy days do come. And this was one of the rainiest days, There's my opportunity to kind of refurbish and put back, But it's just cash flow. When money comes in, money comes out. You got to realize, it can very easily spiral out, very easily.
Is this a mistake you've made before? Just because you went from restaurant number 1 to restaurant number 2, was restaurant number 1 just because you've had the experience with working in Bitang, you know what I mean? Was it just straight up, or was it rocky before you went on to the second venture?
I was always conscious of money. I grew up in my family business. My dad was very, very risk averse. If there's anything that needed to be done, we would learn to do it. We would build it ourselves. Back then, the mentality is if you don't have time, or don't have money to invest, you invest your time. So I ended up underneath the sink a lot of times when we should have called a plumber. I'm there in Foyle's bookshop, looking at how to, buying books on plumbing and carpentry to do my own things because the quotes I'm getting in, I'm like, nah, I can't see myself paying that kind of money.
Yeah.
Now it's flipped and I don't have time. So I'm there looking for the best quotes, and I know when it's good to get somebody in and pay right money, So it swings and roundabouts, It depends what you could add value in and what you realize what you can't, and realize that, and then bring someone else in when you have to.
Do it.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the team and staff actually. So after opening the first restaurant, how long after did you open Ramo Ramen?
Okay, so literally, Guanabana, let's say that was the first one. Bintang was the family one.
Yeah.
It took almost, and people think it just happened, literally almost 10 years.
10 years?
Yeah, bro. Almost 10 years.
Serious?
So I've been making a lot of mistakes, flipping the menu around, a lot of arguments, a lot of stress, man, a lot of stress. And then 10 years is when things just started happening. I've started a clothing line within that 10 years. All right, that creativity side, I'm going to do something else. And
where did the clothing line come from? Break it down to people.
I was really into streetwear.
Yeah.
And I liked a lot of the independent brands were coming up. And I thought that's something I could do. And, I tried, I went to Bangladesh to get some clothes made. That's like a whole nother world, man. That's a jungle out there.
Is that where your dad's from? Yeah?
That's my dad's from, yeah. So I went there alone. I didn't speak the language. I was there for almost a month and a half, and I saw a lot of the factories, did a few deals, brought stuff back, but I learned a lot, right? So I learned about, branding is a big thing for me.
Yeah, I can tell from the jump.
So logos, design, I love that stuff. And then when I brought it back, I realized, okay, that was one of my first failures, my biggest failures, right?